What's up everyone, and welcome back to HateWatchers. Today we've got our breakdown and review of the 6th episode of Ahsoka, entitled Far, Far Away. Let's get right into things. Spoilers ahead. We pick up with the space whales going on an acid trip to another galaxy, while inside one of the whales, Ahsoka is back to her usual boring self, but now dressed in white. But then Hu Yang accidentally reads Ahsoka's line in the script, but to be fair, the script does say read robotically for all of Ahsoka's lines, so it's understandable.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Sabine finds herself in a confessional with Baylan, where she tells him that one day she got lucky and caught a beer tossed her way without looking, and ever since then, Ahsoka's been trying to train her as a Jedi. The bad guys drop out of hyperspace at Peridea, and we learn that this planet is where the dumb space whales come to die, so this is our new favorite location in Star Wars. They then take a Saudi shuttle down to the surface, interrupting a cult meeting of the Red Witches of Thay. Thay wisely removes Sabine from the story. Baylan and Shin quickly get bored of the local art, and Shin says sometimes stories are just stories, confirming that this show is just fanfiction and not canon. Baylan has traveled here to achieve an unprecedented level of power he wants to wield to end the cycle of rebellion, of the Jedi, of the Empire. Thrawn's Star Destroyer the Chimera pulls up, and we prepare to get the first live-action appearance of Grand Admiral Thrawn, the reason half of the people still watching this show have stuck around. Thrawn marches up in an admittedly cool scene, looking real Smurfy, flanked by the captain of his guard Golden Face, and backed up by his legion of stormtroopers. The bad guys make another smart decision, giving Sabine a furry ride so she can go to fuck off town.
Die well.
Fingers crossed. Sabine heads off, stupidly unaware that she's part of a trap that will lead the baddies to Ezra. When she stops to get the radio working for the trip, she gets ambushed by random unexplained bandits, but her literal plot armor is way too thick. Later on in this super slow segment of the episode, Sabine and her ride unearth a softshell crab Smurf person, and Sabine asks it for money, knowing that she won't have a job after this show. Baylan and Shin are trailing Sabine to kill her and Ezra, and Baylan says something in the wind is calling to him. But Shin's like, is it maybe just those bandits over there? Sabine follows the
Crab people.
to their crabby Smurf village where they all live in run-down RVs. Here she's greeted by Ezra, who's like, oh, hey buddy. And she's like, wow, Ezra. Hey, great to see you, in a super underwhelming reunion. And at the end of this reunion, Ezra's like, oh, hey, BT dubs, how did you get here? And Sabine is like, don't worry about it, bro, as she neglects to mention all of the existential threats they face in leaving this place. The Dathomirian Great Mothers inform Thrawn that Ahsoka is on her way, and he's like, ugh, great. This show is going to suck again. And the episode comes to an end. Well, we've reached that point in the video where we have to decide if this episode was a great watch or a hate watch. We're saying this episode is a great watch for 3 main reasons. Grand Admiral Thrawn, the sense of exploration and the stakes of the journey, and for the deep dive into one of the show's only interesting characters, Baylan. Just to be clear, this was a good episode in our book, not a great one. Definitely one of the 2 best episodes so far, however. I don't know if it's better than episode 4, but as a Star Wars fan, I enjoyed this one more. We liked Thrawn's entrance worthy of a Grand Admiral, this cool, different-looking legion of patched-up stormtroopers he's got, and his presence generally fit the character fans have been enthralled with for 30 years. And even though we're not loving his look with the lighter blue skin, the odd-looking hair, the beer belly, and the much-reviled pupils, if he's handled well, everyone will look past those nitpicks, even if he continues with his mumbling British dialect. But the important thing is that he's portrayed consistent with his character in the Heir to the Empire trilogy, and not the Thrawn from Rebels. The funny thing about Thrawn in this canon is that all of his menace and all of the fear he induces is literal hearsay. All of the reasons they should be afraid of him are non-canon, and he hasn't really done anything in Disney's canon that should warrant the existential dread some characters have for his return. In Rebels, Thrawn ultimately failed to take over one little planet, thwarted by a plucky band of short bus pass holders. So for the sake of the fandom, they better cast aside his Rebels portrayal and do the EU character justice. Secondly, this episode just had a very classic Star Wars feel to the exploration. We give credit where credit is due, and having characters travel to another galaxy for the first time on screen brought a fair bit of wonderment to everything going on. And it's made all the more engaging when the stakes of the dangerous journey and the low likelihood of being able to return are well presented. And lastly, we have the best part of the episode, Baylan. He's pretty much cemented his place as the best character this show has to offer, unless Thrawn pulls a Gundark out of his hat in the last 2 episodes. Baylan's past and his motivations are becoming clearer, but each answer brings with it more questions, in a good way. You want to know more about this character, what he's up to, what he's been through, what his relation to Shin is, and what he thinks he can achieve. And Ray Stevenson continues to make all of the Rebels characters look like absolute amateur trash bags on stage. Which also makes you realize that this show really shined when the titular character played no real part in the events of this episode. Funny how that works. But like everything in Ahsoka, even the best episodes are far, far away from perfect. Even when introducing us to a new galaxy and one of the most threatening villains in Star Wars lore, this one still found a way to drag on at times. It was still better paced than the early episodes, but this one slows way the hell down in the final third. Also, Sabine's long-awaited reunion with Ezra totally missed on bringing the emotional weight Filoni intended. Even for people like us who know their history together, it just felt like 2 coworkers going for a beer after work. So we can imagine that for people who don't know their story from Rebels and everything they went through previously, this scene would have fallen completely flat of what was intended. One thing that we did find hilarious though is that this planet in this other galaxy is where the space whales come to die, which means Ahsoka may have induced all of these whales to jump to their deaths. If that's the case, then Ahsoka's character just scored quite a few points with us. Comment below, was Thrawn's first live-action appearance to your liking? Do you think they'll do the character justice, or will he be Disney-fied like he was in Rebels? Is Ahsoka the weakest part of the Ahsoka show? Let us know in the comments below. If you haven't already, please remember to like the video if you liked it, and subscribe to HateWatchers to stay up to date on Ahsoka. Thank you for going on this acid trip with us today, and we'll catch you on the next one.